Having dropped my new to me curtains off with Liz at Dalgety Bay to be shortened, I drove over to North Queensferry. I left my van in the marina and decided to do the Forth Bridges Trail. The marina was really pretty, and in the marina there was a map showing you the trail. You can start the trail at any point, although I must admit it was a little confusing to follow at times. My first stop was the railway pier. Before the Red Bridge was built, train passengers were dropped off here at North Queensferry and had to catch the ferry via the railway pier over to South Queensferry and Dalmony. This is the pier here. The next spot is supposedly the smallest lighthouse in the world. You can climb these steps and you can hear me muttering about a noisy revving up driver as I do so.
I suppose you get idiots wherever you are. What an idiot. Small man with a loud exhaust. Can't go any further.
Apart from the view, at the top of the tower are lots of little information boards, making the climb worthwhile, but I will put some of the facts in the details below this video.
Is the dog not overly impressed with this?
Next to the lighthouse is a tiny museum with, again, crammed full of information and artefacts and things. Well worth a little visit. I'm just amazed these places exist in Scotland. There's so much information and free stuff available when you go round.
I don't understand people, I really don't. But yeah. Brilliant little tiny free museum. This is looking back at the house where the grievances were heard in the tower. And there's a lovely little modern mock-up of the lighthouse. And the sky. Admiring the view. And that's looking over to the marina where we were a bit ago. The suspension bridge.
For hundreds of years, pilgrims have journeyed across the Fife to the sacred site of St Andrews, supposedly the resting place of the bones of one of Jesus' disciples. The town then had equal status to San Diego de Compostela and was one of the main pilgrim destinations of medieval Europe. The name Queensferry originates from Queen Margaret, who crossed here in the 11th century, and she granted free passage to pilgrims to the holy site of St Andrews and travellers to the royal residence at Dunfermline. Opened in 1890, this was the first major structure in Britain to be constructed entirely of steel. It was one of the first cantilever bridges and for years was also one of the world's longest bridges. It consumed 58,000 tonnes of steel and 6.5 million rivets. It cost a whopping £3 million in its day, but sadly also cost 73 lives. The next stop was the War Memorial, which I forgot to take photos of, but Skye enjoyed a drink at the fountain halfway up the hill to the station.
You don't get waiting rooms like this in Surrey. Gathering pencils, paper, books, information, pictures. And look at this. You definitely would not get this in Surrey. What a glorious waiting room. It's got all sorts of magazines as well. Something for everyone.
I then caught the train over the bridge to Delmeny and back. Here you can see the oil tanker Azonova alongside several tugs, the Corringham, the Hopeton, Queen's Ferry and the Balmerino. And the source of that is Vessel Finder, which is a really good app to have on your phone if you like to find out what ship you're looking at. On leaving this very pretty station, I came across a sign saying you get a certificate if you did the train journey and walk the other bridge. So being a mug, I decided to do this. The bridge was accessed via a housing estate and it was a flipping long way across, and I still haven't got my certificate.
The Royal House is sort of out on its own in the middle of the screen now. And this is basically just buses only. Up there, taxis and small vehicles. So a few cars and taxis. I think they have. This suspension bridge was opened in 1964 when I was 5 and was the longest suspension bridge in the world outside of the United States, and replaced the centuries-old ferry service to carry vehicular traffic, cyclists and pedestrians across the Forth. Under the bridge you can just make out the oil tanker, the Azonova, with 4 tugs in attendance. This was a very long day on my feet, but there was so much information. It was a really interesting walk, and thanks a lot to Fife Council for all the effort they've put into this. Well worth it.